And the data that I've seen, which is somewhat contrary to one of the other guests tonight, thanks for having me back, would show that that's when the buying sprees started, when we started to ban certain classifications of weapons, because you can buy through the internet, off market, out of country, private gun shows, any number of weapons that you may not be able to buy through legal channels. Also in the United States, another country, Brazil, is seeing a rapid incline and increase in these types of mass shootings. Having a child in middle school about to go into high school and a daughter who's also a teacher, these things concern me, but it's more than a one-dimensional problem. We should be hardening the targets, making public schools and private schools safer, but mental health, and I'm not a fan of the president, I am a gun owner, both a handgun and a rifle in my household, and probably among these guests, the only NRA member. But I would point out the spending figure on lobbying for the National Rifle Association of only $8 million. We had one Senate race here in Georgia this year that had an excess of $100 million spent by one candidate who's a Democrat who was advocating strong gun control laws. And the state in the nation that has the most stringent gun control laws and metro area with the most stringent gun control laws are Illinois and Chicago, which also have the highest rates of violent crime and homicide by firearm. So this is not ban guns or take up all of the semi-automatic weapons to solve this problem. This is about mental health. This is about a large number of young white males who feel like they don't fit in, many of whom are on mind and mood-altering drugs and substances like ADD and Ritalin, very commonly prescribed, who use and regularly spend time on video games or watching videos that sort of numb their sensitivity to the danger of loss of human life. So it's a much bigger issue, but when we talk about legislation, it seems the only thing we ever want to talk about is regulating gun ownership.
But do you believe there should be more regulation of gun ownership?
Yeah, yes, I think we should do away with the loophole for private sales, which is in all 50 states. I think we should look at requiring training. I was trained before I owned my first handgun. I don't have children that want to use them, but if they ever choose to, they're going to be trained before they even put their hand on one. I believe we should look at regulation, certification, and registration in all 50 states, a common standard, which we don't have now. But I'd start there as opposed to regulating the ownership of classifications of guns, because if you do that, all you'll do is push up the prices. The prior president, Democratic, outlawed stockade bumpers that absorbed shock in semi-automatic weapons, which caused the market and prices to go up, but people just ordered them from overseas sellers. They didn't stop ordering them, they just can't order them domestically. And again, yes, firearm manufacturers are a large industry, but the number you just tossed out, the American automotive industry is 3 times that. The airline industry is larger than that. They are a big player. They're a big employer and manufacturer. But I think we overstate their import and their impact in the legislative process.
Well, I think the difference is there's not a one-to-one correlation between the need for automobile and the need for a firearm, and that you have more regulations needed to purchase a firearm, to purchase a vehicle, and to get insurance on it, to get licensing, to be trained. Then you have to buy. Then you have to buying a gun. You know, my first gun that I bought, I walked into the Walmart in Rome, Georgia. I picked up an AR-15. I got some oranges, some apples, and a tablet, and I walked out the store in about 20 minutes. That's what it took to buy an AR-15 in Rome, Georgia at the time. Buying a car is a far more involved situation, and far more licensing involved in that. And just to this point about the NRA and many of the organizations that call themselves gun lobby, you never see them stand up for somebody like Philando Castillo, who was a legal gun owner who was shot by police for owning a firearm. You never see them stand up for Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old who was playing with a firearm or with a toy gun in his front yard when he was gunned down by police. They never talk about Jamal Crawford, a black man who was in a Walmart in Ohio holding a BB gun that he was purchasing, who was shot by police. Their interest is not in defending the Second Amendment. Their interest is not protecting gun owners. Their interest is protecting the corporate profits for Remington and for Glock and from many other gun manufacturers, and they have to stop masquerading as Second Amendment rights groups when in truth they are just corporate lobbyists who want to make sure there are absolutely no gun regulations on the books anywhere in this country to ensure that you can sell firearms as cheaply and as legally to any individual who wants them in order to drive up the profits for their membership organizations. That's all that they are currently, and that's all that they've ever been.